What's up, guys? It's Demon Duo What Ifs here, and today we're going to be doing part 3 of What If Tanjiro Was a Demon. So, without further ado, let's get right into the video. Okay, so let's start with a summary of what's been happening. So, in part 2, Tanjiro got very mad at the teleportation demon because he was killing girls that were about 16 years old. And Tanjiro made the correlation that his sister was about 16 years old, and if she was still a human, it's very possible that he could have killed her. This made Tanjiro absolutely furious, so he decided he would kill the demon with his nourishing blade. Muzan had seen the whole thing, and he decided that he wanted to summon Tanjiro in to have a talk with him. Tanjiro decided that he would go, and now he is going to be face to face with Muzan as we speak. Tanjiro travels down the long corridor, knowing what's on the other side. There's a harsh, blood-red door standing there, with the doorknob hot to the touch. Tanjiro knows that he must go in, though. He braces himself as he enters the door. Standing there are Muzan's blood-red eyes. Tanjiro can't help but look at them. Muzan bellows, "Bow down, boy." Tanjiro can't help but listen. Nezuko can't help but do the same thing. They put their necks straight to Muzan, begging him to do whatever he wants. Muzan tells him to stand up and look them in the eyes now. They do. And then Muzan says with a deep sigh, "So, you killed the demon I sent you to protect, did you now?" Tanjiro doesn't know what to say. He tries to say something about how it was killing little girls, but Muzan then cuts him off. "It doesn't matter what they're killing. You do whatever I tell you to, boy. How dare you defy me?" Tanjiro understands what might happen. He thinks Muzan is going to kill him and his little sister. Tanjiro draws his Naruto blade and charges straight at Muzan. Muzan just puts his hand up and Tanjiro has to stop in his tracks. Muzan walks 3 steps towards Tanjiro, taps him on the shoulder and laughs. "You really thought you could kill me like that? You aren't even a lower moon." Muzan sends a fist, hitting Tanjiro right in the head, blowing his head off. Slapping it on the back of the wall, it falls down with blood spraying out of his neck. Tanjiro looks at Muzan still because demons can survive without having to have a head. Are you going to kill me, master?" Muzan laughs and says, "No, you're too valuable to kill. I sense the strength in you." He grabs Nezuko and says, "And plus, I always have your little weakness." And then he starts to laugh. He throws Nezuko towards Tanjiro's head. Nezuko makes sure to step out the way in order to not crush his head. Tanjiro's body starts to come towards his head and it immediately reconnects. Muzan says, "Now, after you killed that demon, you're lucky he wasn't the lower moon. But now, I will give you a chance to become a lower moon. Within the next year, you must kill one of the Hashira. If you can kill one Hashira, I will make you the lower 6 and give you some of my blood. Here, to go on this mission, already take a little." Muzan walks up to Tanjiro, giving him a little bit of blood, and Nezuko a little bit of blood. This makes him instantly feel very powerful, and red sparks start to shoot out from his body in pure power. Tanjiro thanks Muzan and then starts to leave. Muzan says, "Wait, boy. If you fail me, I will kill you and your sister. So you best make sure to try your absolute best and not return until you do." Tanjiro agrees and says, "Yes, master. I will do whatever it takes to do this." He starts to hunt down demon slayers, asking them what they know about the Hashira. He finds a little weak demon slayer, about 17 years old, punches him into the wall, picks him up, and starts beating him up, blood spilling all over the place, blood pouring out of this young demon slayer's mouth. He grabs the demon slayer and looks him straight in the eyes. "What do you know about the Hashira?" The young demon slayer cannot help but tell him. He looks at Tanjiro and says, "Soon, in about a week, they will have a meeting at Sagari Mountain." Tanjiro laughs and says, "Fine, I guess I'll spare you then. He drops the Demon Slayer to the floor, allowing him to run away. But suddenly, he immediately teleports behind the Demon Slayer and rips his head off, and then gives it to Nezuko. Nezuko, eat up. You haven't eaten in a long time, Tanjiro states. Anyway, they wait about a week, just training, getting stronger, practicing their swords, eating other Demon Slayers, and collecting information on who the weakest Hashira might be. Tanjiro ends up deciding that he will attack Shinobu, as she does not even have the strength to decapitate a demon's head, and Tanjiro has a high resistance to poison. So attacking her by herself would be the best option that he has to kill a Hashira. He goes to the mountain, hiding in the mist, because he has his power basically of love. He can do a lot of stuff that isn't even harmful. Like he can just make a nice aura around him that hides his presence. So then he is watching the Hashira have a meeting. They have their meeting about what will happen about the spider incident, and then they're like, well, we should probably go attack them. And they all agree. They're like, how about we plan a huge Demon Slayer attack next week? But Tanjiro knows before this, because there's going to be a huge attack, he'll need to go ahead and get off Shinobu. So, on the way home, everybody goes their own way. Tanjiro and Nezuko stalk out Shinobu. They find her trying to meet with her student and wait for her student to leave. Suddenly, Shinobu says, okay, demons, you can come out now when her students leave. Tanjiro smiles, and then both him and Nezuko step out. They say, oh, how'd you know we were there? Was their presence not masked well enough? Shinobu then says, I've trapped this whole house in my poison. I'd be surprised if you guys weren't already affected. As soon as it affects somebody, I can immediately sense it. And I felt it get into Nezuko's bloodstream. Tanjiro starts to laugh, and then he says, don't you know? Us Kamidos have a high resistance to poison even in life. You'll never be able to get us with something like that. Suddenly, Nezuko gets pulverized and falls to the floor. Tanjiro is surprised and looks over at Nezuko. As soon as he lets down his guard, the Hashira charges straight at him with her blade. Tanjiro pulls out his own blade, clashing against it, and then shoves her back. She's knocked into the wall, hitting her head, but still conscious. She looks at Tanjiro and says, oh, you have one of our blades. You have a Nirichin blade. I never seen a demon use one of those before. This is so interesting. Nezuko then regains her footing, punching her in the face as she's distracting, slamming her against the wall. Kamido does not know what to do, so she tries pulling out some poison bombs that she has hidden, more like poison grenades, and throws them at the floor, spreading across a dark purple substance all across the floor, spraying over everybody. Luckily, Kamido has the antidote. She tries to inject her with it, but suddenly Tanjiro throws the Nirichin blade, cutting the antidote, the only one she had on her. This made Kamido extremely surprised, because now she doesn't have an antidote to her poison. She knows the poison takes 5 minutes to take place, so she needs to get out of there, obviously get the antidote. But Nezuko covers the door. Nezuko has a much less resistance to poison than Tanjiro does, so she is just kind of weak right now, but Kamido is extremely weak. Tanjiro grabs Kamido by the back of her head and then slices, cutting off all her hair, but barely missing off a deep cut on her neck. This pours blood all across the room. Suddenly, they hear a knock at the door. Kamido's student trying to get in. Tanjiro realizes what this is, and then before Kamido can say anything, he blitzes over and stabs the Nirichin blade towards the door. There's a dark, deep, blood-red stain that starts seeping through the door. Tanjiro rips out the sword, revealing that he stabbed right through her chest, killing her with one stab. He then looks at Kamido as Kamido starts to get weakened, but Tanjiro knows that Kamido is no longer a threat. He picks up the student and feeds it to Nezuko, giving her the strength to move again and be healed by the poison. Before the poison starts to take effect on Tanjiro, he eats the poison himself. To make sure it counts as their kill, Tanjiro walks over to Kamido and says, "You were my best fight yet," picks up the Nirichin blade, and slams the blade down on her neck, instantly decapitating her. Again, Muzan was watching this whole thing, and from his castle, he starts to smile, knowing how good Tanjiro is becoming and how good he will be in the future. Also, guys, I know Muzan doesn't really have a castle in the manga, but like, it's kind of cool to have that moment, huh? But anyway, this is gonna be the end of part 3 of what Tanjiro was a demon. I hope you guys all enjoyed and have an amazing day. Peace out.